Hey everyone, since recording this episode, we talked about the Second Shift Brewing fundraiser that has closed since the time of our recording. We were all able to raise $16,668 for the Kreider family over at Second Shift Brewing, and that's awesome. So they're not taking any more donations, but just wanted to put that out there and enjoy the show. Today's episode is sponsored by the American Homebrewers Association. Become a part of the U.S.'s largest community of homebrewers for just $48 a year by going to unitedwedrink.com/AHA. What exactly do you get with your AHA membership? How about a year-long subscription to Zymergy Magazine, the world's longest-running homebrew magazine? Exclusive deals and discounts at over 2,000 breweries, bars, and bottle shops across America. Discounts on Brewers publication books and merchandise. Access to a huge library of previous HomebrewCon seminars and talks. And early access to purchasing tickets to each year's Great American Beer Festival and Savor. Sign up now by going to unitedwedrink.com/AHA and get a year's membership for just $48. And if you sign up now, you'll get a free gift. What's that gift? I'm not saying. You need to go see for yourself. It's pretty great. Support United We Drink, support homebrewing, and support the American Homebrewers Association at unitedwedrink.com/AHA. The opinions and statements in this podcast do not represent those of the host's employers, co-workers, family, or imaginary friends. Now enjoy the show.
Happy hour? More like amateur hour. Welcome to United We Drink.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast with more vacation time than a small brewery owner. Welcome to United We Drink, right here on unitedwedrink.com, as well as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and wherever fine podcasts are found. My name is Mikey Revich, and I would totally move to the San Francisco area if it weren't for fires, the threat of earthquakes and tsunamis, state income tax, very high sales tax, the highest gas prices I've ever seen, and ungodly, ridiculously expensive housing. But other than those things, I'd totally be there in a heartbeat. With me, as usual, is a man on yet another self-imposed Twitter break, and he's just one big ball of fucking sunshine. It's Joel Codner.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. I've abandoned ship yet again.
A little preview of his last call, I'm guessing there. Also with us is a guy that we can still be considering the new guy for probably 3 to 7 more episodes. Here's Kevin Abbott.
Gentlemen, very, very happy to be here, and very happy to be here back in my cave, in my room, not on a trip, and relaxing with a good beer.
I envy the fact that you have a cave at your house, an actual like rock dwelling that you get electricity to and can hang out and record a podcast in.
I'm a big Nietzsche fan. I don't know if you actually really got that, but if you did, kudos.
That's one thing that our listener base are very much well known for, being very well versed and read on Nietzsche.
Well, I did a lot of background information, a lot of just delving into the data and the crossover. So I figured I'd bust that out there early on to get everybody hooked.
Pretty sure that Aaron from Bitter Units is like the top of that list. Kevin doesn't know him, but Joel gets the joke. Thanks everyone for continuing to come back and listen to this. I almost said shit show, but I guess it makes sense. What are we drinking tonight as we record, fellas? Joel?
So I was at the movies earlier and I had roughly 48 ounces of Michelob Ultra. Not all in the same container. I had two 24s, don't worry. I mean, not that it's whatever. But I figured I'd keep the party going, and I poured myself an Imperial Stout that I had in the fridge, and it's pretty fucking bad. And it's from a really good brewery that makes a really good Imperial Stout, and I don't know what the hell is wrong with it, so I'm not going to continue drinking it. So I'm just going to stay with my backup water. I won't say who it is, where it's from, but holy shit, it's a nice can of soy sauce.
I did see your face before we went on when you took a sip from it, and you then doubled back and looked at it again like, the fuck was that?
Yeah, not pleasant.
What brand is your water, or is it just from the tap?
Yeah, it's Palm Beach County brand.
Ah, only the finest.
I've heard good things.
Probably way better than West Palm water. But Kevin, what do you have?
We're this close to going back down the water conversation that we had on my first episode as a co-host. So I just like the continuity. Just keep it rolling, boys. I am drinking a beer called How About Them Pineapples. This is a beer that Barrel of Monks we released on Saturday. This is my first can. When I got back from Orlando from a little trip I took, I swung by and grabbed myself a 4-pack of that. So I'm giving it a try for the first time.
And you hate it, right?
I like the beer. It is not my favorite thing we've ever done.
Okay. That's honest.
I'm pretty honest about our stuff. It's not a bad beer, but it's not the best thing we've ever done, and I look forward to trying to do it again in the future and continue to, refine the recipe.
Very nice.
I disagree. I'm very happy with it. I think there's a little bit of an upfront bitterness that hopefully we'll see smooth out real soon, but as far as pineapple goes, I mean, that is the most fucking prominent pineapple I think I've ever had in a beer that wasn't like one of these stupid cocktail smoothie fucking beers. I mean, it's we've always talked about having that punch in your face aroma. I think it's right there.
Well, I'm really happy to hear that you like it, honestly, because, at the end of the day, I really lean heavily on Joel, you, and Ralph, and the other people at the brewery, because obviously my taste isn't everybody's taste. But it's something that I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying it's a bad beer, but I'm much more encouraged when I hear good things from coming out of your mouth about what you think about it. So that's good. I felt the same way in some ways about the coconut pineapple beer we did a couple months ago that I did not love in the beginning, and I just drank one the other day and said, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" And you guys crushed it. So maybe a couple weeks from now, this thing will kind of meld together a little bit, and I'll be thrilled. Who knows?
I love that you're thrilled by hearing good things come out of Joel's mouth. I'm thrilled.
It's
when
a
I hear
rare
negative
occasion.
Things come out of his mouth.
What are you drinking, Mike?
I'm having a can of Copper Point Lager, and then I also have backups of some Topo Chico grapefruit and just some Woodford Reserve bourbon as a chaser, I think we have a pretty important news piece that we need to talk to, and it's a shame that that Bill Bomasano, or whatever name we're going to call him from this point on, is not here for this, because this is right up his alley. Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to announce seltzer is dead. We did it. We beat it. It's gone. Or at least that's what the news wants us to say. Like, this is literally from CNN. The hard seltzer craze has come to an end.
Fake news.
Is the title of this article.
I'm just really upset that my Mission Accomplished banner is still in production, but I'll get it here in the next week or so.
Mine's packed away in a box still somewhere. Has never got unpacked after my move 6 months ago. But I guess Truly didn't have a lovely quarter and didn't quite meet a lot of their goals. And news is running with that as the seltzer craze is coming to an end. Probably a little bit premature of a statement, but what say you, Joel?
I think it's still around, for a while. it's not going to fall off like Not Your Dad's Root Beer and all that kind of hard soda shit, but I just think it's so oversaturated. I mean, the seltzer section at the store is out of control, and so much of it has identical branding, identical flavors. The big guys are all doing iced tea and fruit punch and all those variety packs. And not that there's anything wrong with them. I've enjoyed many of them, but it's just like everyone's all doing the same thing. And there's just so much of the same thing out there.
And every can is matte white or black.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah, it's just... It's like George. God, I feel like I quote Carlin on every episode. Too many choices, America. Not healthy. There's just so goddamn much of it. I mean, my Publix has 12 packs of the stuff from local breweries who are nowhere near as big as the big guys who are flooding the shelves with this shit. I mean, it seems like everyone is doing it, from the tiny breweries to the macros, and it's just everywhere. And I think kind of like ebooks, there was this myth that it would be a cheaper option too, and they've been pretty expensive in some cases. I mean, a lot of those I would wait for them to go on sale, and there was a lot of discounted pricing up front when certain brands would get released. I remember seeing a lot of the original Truly stuff being buy one get one free, and now some of these things are over $20 a pack.
I think that's a really good point, Joel, in that when you have such ubiquity with the flavors and really that much of a difference, and listen, there are raspberry flavors that I like one more than the other. One tastes a little more medicinal, one tastes a little bit better, more authentic, what have you. But we're talking about gradients. We're talking about small changes, small differences. By nature, we're talking about a thing that's supposed to be flavorless and give you nothing but the extract that you put into it. So it's not anything like a beer. It's not like a pale ale. It's not like an IPA. It's not like a lager even at all. So if you basically have the fact that they all taste the same, then when you walk into your local Publix, basically it behooves you to buy the BOGO. It doesn't matter if it's White Claw or Truly or a local brewery or what have you. Just buy the BOGO. You can never really make any money off that, because the reason you do a BOGO is to try to get new customers and people to become regulars of yours. So if the consumer is just going to skip around to whatever is the cheapest today, there's no way to really gain market share. So I think that's a really good point that you made there. And I've been saying this since the very beginning. I mean, early on, we talked about getting in the seltzer game, and my first thought was, is the seltzer section of your local grocery store ever going to be 8 feet long or 6 feet long like a craft beer set? And if the answer is no, then how many brands can really survive? And if you don't have the economies of scale, if you don't have the big brand, if you don't have the big stick to walk in and go, here, put my stuff on the shelf, how are you ever going to get there? And I think it's kind of coming true.
I think that's a great point that you bring up with just going with whatever is the sale when things are so close. I think the only one who kind of escapes some of that is White Claw, due to just memeability and how they've caught on as like a cultural brand, with memes being created and a whole culture around White Claw. I think that helps them a little bit more. I mean, they are the biggest brand in the whole segment, but yeah, when everyone else looks the same, tastes the same, there's no brand loyalty. You're just gonna go for the BOGO, go for the cheapest, and it's getting the job done.
Now, when it comes to the apocalypse, what sign is it? Like, what number of a whole culture built around White Claw? Because that's got to be one of the major signs of the apocalypse, does it not?
Probably. I mean, it's probably right before the horsemen show up. Like, if we were going for the whole Revelations thing. I think it's somewhere around there.
A giant slim can riding in on a horse. Is that what you said?
A giant slim can riding on another slim can horse.
Yeah. I'm. This is very interesting. I have heard nothing about this. I've just seen kind of, from my vantage point, just more and more brands, more and more visibility for them. Every party, we have people over. Just last Friday, we had some friends over for dinner, and one of them brought a bunch of White Claw, right? And we drank them. I enjoy flavored I enjoy sparkling water. I enjoy hard seltzer. I'm one of those people, but I don't think you can go to a party without having someone bring some of it out now, which would have been absurd a couple years back. And Truly's one. Do you guys know, is Truly? I always assumed that they were one of the big hitters.
They're number 2.
They're number 2. So the number 2, and that's kind of it. The number 2 seltzer company is taking a big hit.
Yeah.
So,
According to one of these articles, Truly and White Claw make up 70% of the seltzer market.
now I wonder if one brand taking a hit, maybe being eaten up by some of the smaller brands. Then the question is, can Funky Buddha, to talk about a brand in our backyard who has been manic about their push of their seltzer, and can they gobble up enough of that market share and really and be relevant and crush it in this market and others? Yeah, I think it's the thought that the brand or the concept is dead is pretty silly. I do think what we may be seeing is that reckoning that we've always expected in the craft beer industry, where we go from having 20 options and we go down to 10, or we go down to 5, or we go down to 3. We might start. This might be the first domino in that fall.
I would think that if dominoes were falling for that stuff, it's the fact that most of those big tap list places, chains, have been starting to go away. Like the 50 tap, 100 tap places are not as relevant as they used to be. But yeah, this is probably another sign of that.
I just think all of these seltzer brands just have no, aside from White Claw, have no identity whatsoever. I don't think it's enough to just be Coors Seltzer, Corona Seltzer, Bud Light Seltzer. And I feel like maybe some people who are hesitant to get into these types of drinks are thinking like, is this just like a super light Bud Light? Is this still beer? There may be some confusion. I don't know. But everything looks the same. Everything damn near tastes the same. And, you got White Claw with the memes and the no laws when you're drinking claws. I mean, even the big macro beers have their little marketing things, Bud always had catchy shit, like whether it was the frogs or there was Spuds McKenzie back in the day. Like, there's no mascots, there's no catchy marketing taglines, or it's the same fucking commercial, just a bunch of bubbly water and fruit flying around, and none of these things stand out from each other in any way. And like you were saying earlier, like for me, if I go to Publix and Bon Viv is buy one get one free, well, that's what I'm getting, and I don't know what fucking elderflower is, but I'll try that flavor, and that's one I liked. I have a newsflash for you. No one knows what elderflower is. There's one person. They passed away 7 years ago. They brought that to their grave.
To go back to Funky Buddha, like it seems like they are attempting to create some sort of culture or fun around their brand with like the ads that they have with the people's mouths also being faces, and like they're trying hard, it seems like, on the advertising front. And I mean, I remember Bud Light Seltzer had, what was his name? Post Malone in their commercials when they first came out. And I can't find it now, but like Truly was doing an ad campaign with some name. Pop star Dua Lipa.
Yeah.
Don't know who that is. Like that.
You're
This
so
is
old.
their.
It's actually dual IPA.
Oh. Is that what we're going with instead of double IPA now? Is this the double dry hop dual IPA? So yeah, it's I think that in this segment, the marketing and advertising is an even bigger deal to try to get yourself seen and getting the repeats coming back to you.
But these celebrity endorsements and having them attached to these brands I feel like it does nothing for me, and I feel like a lot of people would probably feel the same way. I don't think celebrities have that sort of pull anymore. I mean, look at the way we've elevated reality TV. I mean, just absolute nobodies being globally famous. I think the idea of celebrity and the weight they have, sure, they can be influential in ways, but I just don't think it carries the same weight as it used to. And personally, I mean, Post Malone is not pleasant to look at. So if, whether it's fucking Doritos or Bud Light seltzer he's selling, like I want to look the other way.
Oh, wait a minute. I think I just figured it out, guys. I cracked the code. So Post Malone is not pleasant to look at. The Funky Buddha commercials were not pleasant to look at. It made me very uncomfortable. And I found myself going, man, that's weird to look at. I really need to drink something. Oh, wait a minute. They're advertising alcohol. I'll pick one of those up to help me forget that commercial. That's the hook. That's the brand. That's what we're selling over here. I get it. I get it now.
Will they stop doing this if I buy it?
I mean, I feel like that came from the same marketing team as those fucking weird animals in the Quiznos commercials.
I was just thinking the same thing, Joel. Right? Or the Six Flags guy from the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
The old dancing man.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so listen, guys, we figured a lot of stuff out about this industry. We should do this more often. We should just do a breakdown. If we would have...
I do want to ask Joel one thing. Like, you truly, no pun intended, have not been influenced by a celebrity endorsement at all recently? Like,
I mean, I saw Snake Eyes today because one particular martial artist who I like was in it, but he's actually part of the product. Like I tried The Rock's tequila. I'm not a fan. And I didn't get it because it was The Rock. I mean, not because it was The Rock,
yes,
but I mean, because he just like marketed the shit. Like I felt like he was just beating us over the head with it. And then finally it's like, all right, I'll try it because I like tequila.
Worked.
But like, he kind of, wrestled me into submission, if you will.
If that were Iron Mike Sharp's tequila brand, Kevin would get this one. You wouldn't have bought that.
But okay, so maybe not even 15 years ago, celebrities would not be caught dead doing the types of commercials they're doing today. And there have even been tongue-in-cheek TV shows where like people who play actors on these shows like will go overseas to Japan and do a commercial because they know no one in the States is going to see it. And now you have people who don't even fucking need the paycheck, like Samuel L. Jackson, who's in probably the biggest movie franchise of all time, meaning the MCU, and he's in fucking Capital One commercials. Like, I just saw Shaquille O'Neal on a box of cereal or something today, and he's doing the General commercials and the fucking Domino's commercial. Like, I'm tired of, like, he's like a giant Kevin Hart. He's everywhere. I don't feel like the fucking Kardashians had a clothing line at Sears. Tell me the last time they stepped foot in a Sears. I don't these are paychecks. These are just easy paychecks. I don't believe most of these celebrities are actually involved in 99.9% of these products.
Maybe I didn't word myself but right, because like there are certain things that I think that celebrities will do and say that aren't necessarily, they're not advertising it, they're not being paid to, but they might end up endorsing something that they didn't really mean to, like, and you decided, oh, You know what? Maybe I should try that thing because, like, I can think of the first time I read Kitchen Confidential, and Bourdain was talking about like knives, and I was like, oh,
Global.
he speaks highly of Global brand of knives. I want one of those because he's my hero, and I think I want to be better in the kitchen, and if having a really good knife means that, then okay. And he wasn't being paid by Global to drop their name in his book. But
he's known for being fucking brutally honest. These others are not. They're whores.
I get that, but that's what I'm saying. I was like, is there anyone who has said something or just that they like something that you were like, oh, I wanna try that because that person likes that, and because I like that person. And apparently Rock's tequila was one of I think that you like the Rock. Who doesn't like the Rock? I mean, he seems like a pretty fucking awesome person, but like,
and that's why I'm really struggling with rooting for Jungle Cruise to bomb, because it looks ridiculous. Like, now they're gonna do a fucking Space Mountain movie, and like all these Disney rides are 2 minutes in length, and they want to make a 2-hour movie franchise out of these things. Like, yes, Pirates of the Caribbean was successful, but The Rock, like, I do like The Rock. Like you said,
I'm waiting for the character breakfast movie.
But he looks ridiculous in that hat, and that's why I'm rooting against this movie. I want this movie to fail. That was going to be my last call, but I've got something else.
I got to jump in here. I have to take umbrage. And listen, if there's one thing I'm known is for my timeliness.
Hold on, let me Google umbrage.
15.
It's that company that makes sportswear,
shorts, right?
like
Soccer shorts?
the soccer shorts.
15 minutes ago, Joel, you made some kind of comment about how 10, 15, 20 years ago you would never see this from a celebrity. Do me a big favor. Google Orson Welles peas. Just for funsies.
Well,
no, celebrities have been doing these kind of endorsements since the advent of radio and television. You had Fred Astaire dancing to kitchen sponges. So this is something that has been since the dawn of media. For celebrities, yes, Sylvester Stallone did go over and do wacky commercials in Japan that they certainly wouldn't have done in the States, but those were more embarrassing kind of things. Listen,
but I'm talking the major A-list stars. Like
Orson Welles was the biggest director in the history of mankind.
But listen, most of
his
these situations,
Parmesan wine outtakes.
See, and here I have to go mentioning Carlin again, because he did
1-800-COLLECT commercials.
The what?
The 1-800-COLLECT commercials.
It was
Carlin did
it was
those.
10-10-220.
Oh, whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and he said in one of his specials, like, if you're having any sort of cognitive dissonance that I'm up here attacking advertising and still do commercials for that, well, you're just going to have to figure that shit out on your own. And people did figure that shit out on their own and realized that he was in, like, deep tax trouble and had to, write. I mean, I love all his books. His book, Brain Jopping, is my favorite book of all time, but that was clearly just writing all his jokes on paper in order to pay the IRS. Like you said, it would be Stallone, it would be Schwarzenegger. They would do shit like, everybody would open a restaurant or something like that, but they wouldn't be whoring themselves on national television. Now you go to the lower level stars, and yeah, they'll do anything for a paycheck. But now everyone, like major celebrities, are just hawking every fucking thing you can imagine.
I just think there's more media now, and there's more money, and the fact of the matter is that this kind of advertising works. You would not have these people going back to the well over and over and over again if it didn't. So, I do not personally understand why every single celebrity in Hollywood has their own tequila. Very confusing to me. It's a very weird niche that there's when you go to a Total Wine and More and there's 100 tequilas, 78 of them are owned by a celebrity. I love tequila.
Because it's cheap labor and easy profit, and they don't have to do anything except attach their name to it. There's no fucking work involved.
No, but every brand that a celebrity has. I'm calling out specifically the tequila. I just find it very bizarre. But thank you for giving me some of the 411 on that.
Like Ryan Reynolds is not out there in the agave fields hacking up fucking plants. He's just cashing checks.
I thought he had a gin brand.
That's why he's not out in the agave fields hacking away at plants. That's why Joel said that, because he's
Conor
out
McGregor
there.
is not mashing whiskey.
No, Ryan Reynolds is out picking juniper berries like any good gin owner, distillery owner does. And he's, being very diligent about that. I mean, listen.
Aviation gin. That's what Reynolds says.
So that got off on a tangent.
Crystal Skull vodka. How about that? So that was a lovely tangent.
Yeah, we did that. That's cool.
Well, I will do my homework for the next episode and try to think of some way I've been influenced by a celebrity, because
you already said one.
But I just felt like I was, getting beaten to death with the marketing and figured, fuck it, I try it, and I bought a small bottle of it. I didn't commit to a giant one because I have certain preferences that I just stick with. Like when it's tequila, I love Milagro. I don't feel like I need to stray from that and have 6 different brands in my cabinet. I think it's great straight up, and I think it's a great mixer.
That's fine, but I'm just saying, you tried that because it was The Rock, and that's fine.
All right.
Know what? Next time I go to the liquor store, I'm going to try it. What the hell is it even called?
Terramana.
Terrible name. But I'll get one of the little bottles. My wife might like it once she gives birth.
One thing that also gets me is I know Matthew McConaughey is a stoner, and obviously with being a stoner, the munchies comes along with that. But have you seen his abs? He's not eating the Doritos he's selling.
No,
Joel, I don't think anybody, including the people who are really, really influenced by these
I
people...
should be selling Doritos. Look at me.
If I could sign a petition to get you as the spokesperson for Doritos, I would do my best to get as many signatures as possible, because I think you'd be wonderful. I really do not believe, and I'm sure you're going to disagree with me about this, I don't think most people actually think that these people have anything to do with those brands, or that they even enjoy those brands. I don't think that people thought Michael Jordan was the biggest fan of Gatorade and would drink it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I don't think they believe that he ate Wheaties 3 meals a day. I think at the end of the day, we all understand the game. It's just when you put a face of a celebrity on there that people like, you tend to sell them. I ate a lot of Wheaties when I was a kid. I wore a lot of Nikes because of Michael Jordan. And I had Charles Barkley's Nikes when they came out because he was not a role model in the advertising campaign about it. That stuff works, man.
So celebrities are whores and people are sheep. That's my whole entire point. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Seltzer.
Do we name these episodes individually? Can it be celebrities are whores and people are sheep?
I'll write that down.
I'll put it out there. Was this a craft beer podcast at one time, or did I sign up for the wrong thing?
Your little form that you filled out on the website kind of got lost in the ether, so we'll figure it out.
Okay.
So I think we can end that seltzer talk there. Joel, you had a question that you wanted to ask and put out there to our new co-host.
Yeah. So Kevin was up in Orlando this past weekend, representing Barrel of Monks at I don't know the exact name of the festival, but I know it was sour oriented and kind of niche in its theme.
Way to stay up to date on what your brewery's doing. Good job, Joel.
He's dedicated, man.
Yeah. No, so I was very, after the pandemic and things reopening now and beer festivals starting to come back, I wanted to get Kevin's thoughts on not only what a beer fest is like post-pandemic, but also something that's very niche and beer geek centric, as that was kind of his origin, as we've talked about in previous episodes. And what, because we have this discussion a lot at the brewery, like, what's going on with that type of crowd, and are we trying to make a particular beer to appeal to that crowd, and how will they respond to it, that kind of thing. So I was just very curious of how that experience was for Kevin.
So we went up to Ellipsis Brewing, and they were releasing this 6 days of sour. Basically, they have a line of beers, which are the smoothie, sour, lactose sours that they were putting out. And they did an event, which was they only sold about 200 tickets. There were, I believe, 14 or 15 breweries, many of which are located in that area, but also breweries like Barrel of Monks, Oddbreed, Tripping Animals. A lot of breweries that are really, really well known for doing those kind of styles, and also really well known for being kind of cultish, breweries that people tend to trade for and get really, really excited about their releases. So we have a little connection there. The tasting room manager, Mike, is a big fan of Barrel of Monks. We were on his podcast, At the Bar podcast, when it was still going on, and I believe he was one of the reasons why we got the invite. And also, a strange connection, the charity that was involved there, CARD, the Center for Autism, my wife used to work for that same branch for 9 years. So when I saw that, when I was invited by someone that I really like and had the opportunity to go do this and had that connection through the Center for Autism, I jumped at the opportunity. I went up and did it myself because our sales rep, Sean, was out of town. And went up to Orlando to do that. It was weird. I even before COVID, I hadn't done a beer fest in over 2 years, 2.5 years. I've mostly passed those things along to other people. I used to do every single one of them. So it was all a little awkward. I definitely, had to go through my checklist about 10,000 times to make sure I didn't screw anything up. And I was lucky to go up there with Matt Manthe from Oddbreed, and we were right next to each other, got a chance to hang out. The guys at Ellipsis were awesome. They did a night before event where they had food, all the beer you can drink, hang out, talk with everybody. And it definitely had the vibe of kind of a smaller kind of gathering, but with voracious people who love those styles. And I came out of that really enjoying the conversations I had with people, really liking the connections I made with all those breweries, and understanding that I don't know anything at all about the beer geek culture, the trading culture at all anymore. I kept picturing myself as the Simpsons, Grandpa Simpson, and the headline, "Old Man Yells at Cloud." I felt like the oldest guy in the room. I was looking at beers that I'd never tried a smoothie sour before. I really had never seen one. I've seen pictures, but I just kind of scroll past them. And I was just confused. I was talking with the owner of Ellipsis, and I wasn't saying anything negative about the beer. I thought the beers were really good. I enjoyed what I had. I loved the breweries that, a lot of the beers that I tried from several different breweries there, but it was just more of a culture shock. This is very much the way I'm sure a ton of breweries felt when they first saw Maple Bacon Coffee Porter. When they first saw a peanut butter and jelly beer that was a little bit cloudy, and because of all the oils in the beer, it didn't have any head retention and kind of looked a little bit murky. And I definitely felt like time had passed me by. Like I didn't have the things that the people wanted. Now, I will say that we brought a couple sours, and not really in that category. We bought a blended dark sour that was a very classic sour ale with wild yeast. We brought a kettle sour type beer, but that was still very clear and see-through. And we brought an IPA, and we brought, what else? The pineapple coconut imperial wit. And they were very well received in a lot of ways because it was something different than what everybody else had. So people were coming over, cleansing their palates, trying something a little bit different, and going back and trying some of these really wild, innovative beers. So we did pretty well with that. People did receive the Oddbreed beers, which are classic sours, really, really well. And it was a little bit of a love fest. Everyone seemed to enjoy everything. I met a lot of good brewers, a lot of people that came over and enjoyed what we had to offer, even though it was a little bit different than what they had to offer. I learned a lot about what people are looking for, and it was a little bit of a culture shock.
I feel like we could do a multi-part series about
Shit,
Kevin's, Kevin, no, your influence on this sort of beer culture and just how you have moved from it and what is going on with it, and just seeing your shock and your reaction to this, and going, even conversing with people who are doing it today and seeing where differences and opinions are, like what you thought when you were making beers like that to what these people think when they make it.
I've probably told you guys both this at one point, obviously I'll not on a podcast, I'll repeat it here, but I apologize for the story being repeated to you guys. But Tequesta Brewing Company, Matt Webster, who was at Tequesta Brewing Company when we first started Funky, we were up there. He was teaching us a lot about his system, the original Corner Cafe system that he built, and we kind of copied. And I remember us all sitting up there talking, and myself, Ryan Sense, Jim Bass were all there, and we're talking about Dark Lord, and we're talking about Kate the Great, and we're talking about these Imperial Stouts that were the everything, the ones that everyone wanted to trade for. And we're talking about this with Matt, thinking he's a brewer. He knows all this stuff. He's going to be really excited that we have this beer. We just tried this beer. And he looked at us with glassed over eyes. He had no idea what we were talking about. And we said, well, this is a beer that people will trade their firstborn child for. And they're trading 6 beers for one just to get their hands on it. And people line up and blah, blah, blah. And he seemed to have no idea what we were talking about. And I was shocked by this. I was like, how can you be in this industry and not know about this? This is how I got in the industry, was through that kind of culture, through the bottle shares and all that community. And now, 12 years later, I'm on the other side of that, and people are going, hey, I got this beer. Do you want to try it? And I'm like, is it good? They're like, are you kidding me? This is the beer that they made only 12 bottles of, and blah, 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 and it's from a special this kind of barrel, and this, that, and the other, and you can only buy half a bottle, and you have to buy it in shares. It's like Bitcoin or whatever. And I have no clue. So I find it really interesting that I've come that full circle in that way and come back around to it. And I'm doing my best to be as positive about it as possible, because I know what it felt like to be on the other side and have people look at the beers as just gimmicky, and how many times I heard, oh, this isn't even beer, right? So I want to give the people the license to say, hey, yeah, explore, do something new, do something interesting. And I'm going to be at this point in my career going, hey, man, try my IPA. Hey, try my blonde ale. Try this wit. We're still going to push the envelope with the kind of things that we do. Probably not going to get into those styles of beers. We probably wouldn't do them well. We probably wouldn't put our heart into them. So continue to try to say, hey, listen, this is what we do. We do it really, really well. And the response from a bunch of brewers was really, really positive. I mean, our IPA, Joel, I hope you know, like Endless Enigma, went over like gangbusters. People loved it. And it's not the haziest IPA in the world, right? In a world full of hazies, but it had some good flavor, and people really seemed to enjoy it. And we'll continue to stick our flag there. And I'm looking forward. I want to do more of these events, because I think I'll be better at my job. I'll understand more about what's going on. I'll learn a lot, because I don't want to just be I don't want to be a fossil at 40.
Yeah, that's a great story. Also, fun fact: we have Corner Cafe's system.
Oh, do you really?
Point. Yes, we do. Because it's so incredible to me how you were there doing a lot of this stuff on the early days of experimenting with beer. And for all intents and purposes, I love the fact that you were able to just kind of leave it behind when you were no longer doing it anymore. It was like like, okay, that was that part of my life. Now I am focused on making Belgian style beers, and that is what I'm going to put all of my effort into doing. And you became more invested into learning about some of these Belgian breweries that your co-owners were all about. And I mean, you probably knew a lot about them from hanging out with them, but like that became more of your focus than people making food flavored beers. And it's just incredible to me how you were just able to disconnect from that, because I feel like people like Joel and I have had issues with being able to disconnect sometimes from just pockets of beer culture and be like, fuck them, don't worry about them. They don't matter. They're a small, loud voice. What they are doing doesn't impact us because that's not what we're trying to do. But then it's like sending text messages and being like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is that? Instead of concentrating on yourself and what you are trying to make. And that's the thing I've been trying to be better versed in myself and be more conscious of, and like, yo, I want to try to make the best amber lager around here. I want to make a really good Pilsner. I want to make some good West Coast style IPAs and a good hazy every once in a while. But you know what? Fuck it. We are not going to be that sour brewery. We are not going to be that pastry stout brewery. And I should stop letting that stuff influence me negatively. And I've always been just enamored by your ability to just turn that off and just focus.
Well, Mike, as much as I like being complimented by you, and trust me, I do. I eat this stuff like candy.
I have known you for a while. Yes.
Yeah. Bring it on. I expect more of this after we stop recording. But I want you to
I got my whole list here.
Try to conceive my level of laziness, which is vast. It knows no bounds. Most of the reason why I don't understand what's going on is that I just don't feel like I have the time and the energy to do it. It's the same reason why I don't follow the NFL anymore. There's too much information. I can't know about the new draft class. I don't want to put the energy into it. So a lot of it has actually come down to me just kind of divorcing myself from that segment, because I don't go to bottle shares anymore. I don't have the conversations about it. So I think I do need a little bit more of that. And I've also, and this is the thing, having Joel on board, who does know a lot about what's going on, having Ralph on board, who really is ingrained in that culture and that society and understands it, is so valuable. Because I get a chance, when we did this event, I went to Joel and Ralph and said, hey guys, could you do a treatment beer that's going to make these people happy? I didn't know what the answer to that was going to be. But doing a raspberry vanilla, sour ale, this is what Ralph was like, people are gonna like it, and they did. It wasn't a smoothie. It was completely different from, in a lot of ways, but as far as flavor profile, it was kind of spot on. So it's really, really good to have those people around. It's really good to be, even if you want to say, hey, listen, this isn't what I want to be. And I always appreciate every business that says, I'm going to try to do my thing my way. That's why I love Matt over at Oddbreed. He does what he does, and he does it extremely well. He practices. He busts his ass. He learns. And I think that's great. But knowing what's going out there in the world, knowing about the seltzers, knowing about what's the next trend coming, or hearing about it, keeping your ear to the ground, that's valuable for quality and what you're doing. It's also really valuable for business and making sure that everyone keeps roofs over their heads.
I find it funny. Well, first, let me say, I kind of got to get this metaphor off my chest because now I can't unthink it, but I kind of liken Kevin's story to farting in a crowded elevator full of brewers, getting off at the next floor, and then 12 years later getting back in and going, what's that smell? Sorry. And it's funny that you keep bringing that up, because realistically, like, I have kind of distanced myself from it as well. I mean, I'll go to extremes sometimes and just like, oh, that brewery I follow just posted a neon blue beer, unfollowed. Like, I get kind of shitty and petty like that sometimes, just because I yeah, I just it really does come from a good place. I really want to see more of an emphasis on quality and do like when you said fearing being a fossil at 40, my thought was the real fossils are the ones who are like, when the fuck is this bubble going to burst? When is all this bullshit going to go away? Because I don't think it ever is. I think it all has its place, and even if it dies down, it's still going to be part of the industry. It's going to be in its corners, and there are still going to be the breweries who specialize in that stuff no matter what. I don't think it's ever going away, and we're going to see this massive resurgence of high quality West Coast clear IPAs all of a sudden. I don't think, I think the pendulum swings back and forth, but I don't think it goes so far to just like, unsnap
Erase things. Yeah.
Kind of unsnap, the fucking Thanos gauntlet of shitty beer. So,
oh god, I want a meme, Joel, of you as Thanos snapping away all the beers you don't like. That would make me happy. There's a shirt, guys. There's a shirt.
Would he be Thanos or would he be Hulk, like undoing all of the things?
So, let's lay out the stones that I'll possess. Right, I'll have the Clarity Stone, the
quality stone.
Well, the carbonation. It's the quality gauntlet, right? So we'll have Clarity, and that'll be like the clear yellow stone. We'll have I guess like the no lactose stone. That'll be white. The brown no vanilla stone. What else? No diacetyl stone. That could be like kind of like an orange buttery looking stone. Maybe it just looked like a stick of butter. I don't know. We'll continue to work on this.
Carbonation stone?
Didn't I say that?
No.
You started with it,
is there now.
and you drifted. But no, carbonation would be a good one up there.
Yeah, like the
because it also is double entendre.
The clean glassware stone.
There's your 6.
There you go.
Well, listen.
Unless your gauntlet has a shit ton of stones on it.
I'm gonna be fucking blinged out.
Listen, I think it's really important to. It's the same conversation I always had every single time I go on a podcast or do an interview. Everyone wants to talk about. They want to pitch up a softball for me so I can bash macro beers. And I feel like anytime you get together with brewers that are doing a certain style of beer, I mean, they would be called classic styles now, which is hilarious to me in so many ways. But it's kind of those conversations you have, and I just always want to be really careful to say people are enjoying the beers that the breweries we're talking about are making, and they're not wrong. They're enjoying those beers, and for everybody that said that the beers that I made 10 years ago weren't beer, and I said yes, they are. Right? There's other people going, these smoothie beers aren't beers, but they're made with malt. They're made with fruit. They just tripled the fruit, or the quadrupled, or quintupled, or I don't know, maybe order of magnitude. They upped the fruit in this. So I think that I just want to be very careful about being negative about that stuff, because I know what it felt like to be in that position. And also all the people that are enjoying those beers would turn back and go, well, go ahead and fuck yourself, man. This is good. This is what I like. This is what I'm into. So yeah, I mean, listen, it's not my thing. It's not a style that I'm going to go out and run out and get right now. It's not something that I'm envious of. Oh my God, I got to do that. But I see the value in it. I love pushing boundaries. I really, really appreciate pushing boundaries. And sometimes when people push a boundary, they push it past where you're comfortable, right? They push it past where you would go, and they push it past what you like. And, some of these beers are pushed past my boundaries personally. But I'm doing my best to appreciate it.
One last question about the festival, Kevin. What was it like to be the only one without a beard?
That's the question of my life. Getting into this industry, I bring a fake beard with me everywhere I go, but it was very hot and the spirit gum wouldn't stick. So I had to go with my normal testosterone-less facial hair configuration that I have. And by the way, I was sitting next to Matt Manthe, so we were in good company.
Oh, son of a bitch.
I would be curious to see what Matt is capable of brewing, because I know what you can, or not brewing, what you grow, what you can grow. Seeing Matt attempt to grow a beard would be fun.
Hey, listen,
His definition of fun in that whole experiment is probably very wrong.
listen, two things we have to do. We have to raise money to get Tim Buds to shave his beard, and we need to raise money to have Matt Manthe grow one.
There's at least pictures of Tim without a beard from his younger years out there that we can kind of imagine, but there doesn't exist a picture of Matt Manthe with a beard.
That's what Photoshop's for.
I'll try to do something. No guarantees on that. All right. I think that it's about time we start wrapping things up here. So let's head on in to Last Calls, the segment of the show where we give each other an unspecified amount of time to rant, rave, praise, or just BS about something that we want to, unopposed, unobjected, and I'll go out there real quick and get mine out of the way. I just want to send a big ups to Moonlight Brewing in Santa Rosa, California, who I went and visited on my recent vacation. I was recommended to them by a number of people on Twitter, but most specifically, an employee over there, Stefano, at Stefano Brews on Twitter. Fucking amazing place. They've been brewing for almost 30 years over there, and their Death and Taxes black lager is a thing of beauty. They had a Czech Pils on that was incredible, an English Pale Ale, a Petite Saison, just like a low ABV Saison. Incredible place. Never heard of them before, but a bunch of other people chimed in, were like, yes, you have to go to them. And I was so happy that I did. I know that their anniversary is coming up, so congratulations. Happy anniversary to the fine folks at Moonlight Brewing in Santa Rosa. Keep killing it. Keep doing what you're doing, and keep making awesome beer. Let's go to Kevin.
I'll give a shout out and to Ellipsis Brewing, the people that hosted the festival that I went to. They were class all the way, man. I mean, from inviting us over there to do this thing, they set us up in a hotel. We're 3 hours away. They set us up in a hotel for 2 nights. They bought breakfast for us both mornings at the hotel. They set up a shuttle to go to and from the brewery, both Friday and Saturday. They took care of us really, really well the entire time. They set up a great festival. It was well organized. Once again, class all the way. They did a great job. One of the best events I've attended. It was for a really, really good cause, and I really, really appreciate it. I thought they did a great job. The only caveat I will say is that I believe the event in total was 3.5 days long. I think that was a smidge long. I'd prefer at least 2.5 days at the maximum. It was a long fest. It did run for about 5.5 hours in reality. That was probably, it's because I'm an old man yelling at a cloud. I needed my nap. It's probably where my real problem was. I was drunk by 2. But other than that, they did a great job. I really appreciated being a part of it. I met a lot of really good people. And all the beer fans that we're talking about that are drinking a lot of styles that we're not into, every single person that talked to me was receptive to my boring Belgian beers. Had great conversation about it. That's the thing that we can't miss, guys. Just because someone loves a style of beer that you're not into doesn't mean they won't love your beer too, if you give them a chance to try it. Because people have wide ranges of palates. People enjoy all kinds of different beer. And from the brewers to other breweries to the attendees, everyone couldn't have been more kind, more generous, and more fun to be around.
Awesome. Joel?
Yeah, shout out to Mike at Ellipsis. He's awesome. Super hospitable dude. Really good guy. This is not my last call. I just wanted to kind of tack onto that. Hopefully he's listening. I'd like to get him on here one of these days. All right. So,
by the way, I talked to him about that, and he wants to come on whenever we want to reach out.
Great. Thank you. All right, so I have like a 3-parter, but they're all tied together, so just bear with me for a minute here. So this weekend I got to check out, I binge watched all 5 episodes of the new Masters of the Universe Revelation on Netflix. This is a new cartoon from the mind of Kevin Smith and several other writers and producers on the show. It was announced a couple years ago, and ever since then, all the fucking nerds in their mom's basement are talking about, having their childhood raped and everything like that. And Masters of the Universe is very dear to me. I mean, I grew up with all that shit. I had He-Man cake for my 5th birthday. Like, I dearly loved it as a kid. And even got a little misty watching Prince Adam fucking turn into He-Man for the first time on the show. Really great character designs. The way they've updated everyone, the detail and everything is really awesome. Brilliant voice casting. You've got Lena Headey, who played, Cersei in Game of Thrones as Evil Lynn. You've got fucking Stephen Root, who you may know as Milton in Office Space, as Cringer, Prince Adam's bitch-ass cat before he turns into Battle Cat. Who else? Oh, Henry Rollins as Triclops. I mean, like, fucking great voice cast. The only thing I wish Kevin Smith would have done differently was just not engage all the trolls online, because he is retweeting a lot of like the praise he's getting, but also all of the hate. And it's just really shitty to see, because all of these people are just like, the show's fucking woke and it's all about Tila, and like, just, I don't know why you would continue to amplify that kind of shit and let those people, have a bigger audience than they do. Like, I tried to give it a shot. I went in with no expectations and really fucking enjoyed it. It was 5 quick half-hour episodes and ended on a crazy cliffhanger, and I'm really looking forward to part 2. And that kind of, leads me into my second part here, which is you really have to check out a New York Times article. It's an opinion article, kind of an essay, if you will, by Roxane Gay. It's called Why People Are So Awful Online. It's from July 17th, so about a week ago, even probably 2 weeks ago by the time this shit airs. But it really says a lot of the things that I've been thinking about the way people have become online. Most specifically, how I think a lot of people just feel very powerless in their real lives and turn on people online because they don't have the power to do that in real life, whether it's, getting them fired, getting rid of them, canceling them, whatever you want to call it. It's a really fucking thoughtful, brilliant article that I really enjoyed and said a lot of what I have been feeling, and which leads me into my next part. Yes, I did leave Twitter once again, less than a year ago. Got into some shit with a bunch of assholes and just said, you know what, fuck this. My account is too big and I can't curate it the way I need to. And I can't spend all this time like unfollowing everyone. Like, everything is just too cluttered and fucked up. I'm just going to start fresh. And I curated my timeline with a very specific set of people that I followed. And even then, it still has turned to shit. There are people I dearly love who have become totally fucking toxic. They think that, calling their local representatives cocksuckers online is somehow affecting change in some way. I mean, look, I spent 4 years telling the president to go fuck himself online, and while it was fun, of course, it accomplished nothing. But I had to go again. Someone sent me a screenshot of this random attack by a couple of fucking sanctimonious shitheads that, I mean, it was just completely random. I've blocked these people almost a fucking year ago, and still they just feel the need to talk shit. And I just got really sick of it. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm done with this. It's too toxic. It's too shitty. So what I did do was get rid of that account. I might you have like 30 days. I might log in just to like DM a couple people and exchange info, because I don't want to lose contact with certain people. But I have a completely separate account now. I don't follow anyone in the beer world. I don't interact with anyone. I don't tweet. I don't favorite anything. I don't give the algorithm any opportunity to fuck up my timeline in any way with things I don't want to see. I follow news and science and, things I'm interested in, and that is fucking it. And it feels so amazing. I have felt so much better in the past week and a half since I've done this. We are not meant to just ingest everyone's fucking waking thoughts 24 hours a day. And I feel so much better just having like a news kind of catered timeline with no personal bullshit in it. And I highly recommend everyone do that. I tend to go to extremes. It's not enough for me to just like curate the timeline and make it ease up. I mean, I just have to go fuck this, cancel everything, and start fresh again. So it feels a lot better this way. I've been spending a lot more time, just doing things I enjoy. I'm like level 200 something on this word game on my tablet, like fucking word search type shit, keeping my brain fresh instead of keeping my brain cluttered with everyone's terrible thoughts on, the fucking breakfast they had this morning. And that's it. So that's today's episode of How Joel Be.
Glad you got that in there before I could. Also, I will put a link to that article that Joel mentioned into our description on the website, unitedwedrink.com. Find this episode, and there will be a link to that article. There is a paywall, so I think they do free trials. So if you've never done a free trial with them, you could do that and see it. Otherwise, maybe spend a couple bucks on a month for a subscription, because it's New York Times, right?
Yeah, and I posted screenshots in full on my Instagram story like a week ago. Obviously, it's not there anymore, but I still have those if anyone wants to just email me and, not pay.
You can make them a highlight on your Instagram account, and they will be there forever.
Yeah, I might do that again. And like, I know this person who wrote it, is like it's so hard to post an article or anything from any news source because someone's going to go fake news. And that's why I was so hesitant to even post it, because it's like people will automatically find any fucking reason to throw it away without even considering the content. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a really good article. I know that this is not a typical thing to talk about what someone does their last call about, but you brought that whole story up to me like a week and a half ago, and it was a great story, great read. And so, yeah, we'll put that out there on our website, so a link. So if you have a New York Times subscription, you can see it. If not, I think you can see so many free ones a month or whatnot. If you don't have a subscription, you can get one, because they also have fucking great recipes on their like cooking side of the site, because make good food. Joel, do you want to plug anything since you're not on Twitter? You're still on Instagram.
Yeah, I'm still on Instagram as Florida DUH Brewer. You'll never find me on Twitter, so don't even try. Like I said, I'm keeping to myself on there. But if you're listening and you followed me on Twitter, and nobody even fucking noticed anyway. Like 3 people noticed in a week and a half. So
I got a DM.
Okay,
from someone asking.
You can tell me off air, but Instagram, that's where you'll find me. I'm mostly stories now. I barely post photos, but that's one way to get in touch with me.
Kevin, want to plug anything?
I was not using social media before not using social media was cool. So once again, to echo Joel's statements, you can't find me anywhere, ever, unless you come to the brewery. If you want to know more about Barrel of Monks, you can obviously go to barrelofmonks.com, check out our beers. We are on Osner now, the Osner app, so you can purchase our new beers that are coming out. We just released How About Them Pineapples, which Joel rightfully was telling me that he enjoyed a little bit better than I did. And I did enjoy
Fully endorsed.
I did enjoy the beer a lot more as it warmed up a little bit, and I got through the can. I am excited about it. Single in the Sun, our blonde ale, and a blood orange vanilla wit, which I really enjoyed. And you can go on Osner right now and purchase those and pick them up at the taproom.
Awesome. You can follow me at Mike Loves Beer on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow the show at United We Drink on Twitter, at United We Drink Pod on Instagram. And our website is unitedwedrink.com. And we are available on all of the major streaming services for the podcast: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music. You can subscribe to the show and get brand new episodes delivered to the device of your choice, free of charge, every other Thursday-ish, whenever that comes about. If you're on Apple Podcasts, it would be awesome if you can go and drop us a little rating. Helps us out in the ratings and rankings there. If it literally takes a second. And if you want to take like 30 seconds, write a silly review, and that helps even more. You can say something like, Mike said write a review, and I think that they just keep it there. Whatever, do that. Try. Don't say that I told you, but do.
What's it called? Mixed
in the
messages.
meantime,
Mike.
You can also check out our web store, unitedwedrink.com/store, for buttons, stickers, t-shirts, and all of that. And other than that, we'll be back in a couple weeks for a brand new episode. And to everyone, cheers, be safe. Shit's getting fucking weird out there again, so take care of yourselves and your loved ones and everyone else. Wear a mask. Get vaccinated. Get fucking vaccinated.
Preach.
And cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.